People often imagine anger as a fire that erupts from nowhere, something uncontrollable, something powerful, something that demands release. But Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai of over 60 duels, saw anger as something far more fragile. To him, anger was not a strength. It was a weakness disguised as intensity. It was a moment where the mind collapses inward, becomes small, loses sight of the world, and becomes trapped inside a single emotion. Musashi understood that if he allowed anger to control him for even a breath, he would lose everything: his clarity, his judgment, and his life. This understanding didn't come from philosophy. It came from experience, deadly, unforgiving experience. Musashi fought his first duel at 13 against a grown samurai. He won, not because he was stronger, but because he was colder. He refused to let fear, pride, or ego push him into blind aggression. This was the beginning of his lifelong mastery over emotions that destroy warriors: fear, confusion, doubt, and most of all, anger. One of Musashi's strongest beliefs was that anger is always the enemy of skill. When anger enters the mind, technique collapses, precision collapses, awareness collapses. You can no longer see truthfully, you can no longer respond freely. Anger turns the world into a narrow tunnel and pushes you into the wrong decision almost every time. For a samurai, the wrong decision meant death. For most people today, the wrong decision might mean damaging a relationship, sabotaging a goal, or losing control at the worst possible moment. Musashi discovered a method to destroy anger before it could destroy him. He developed a mental discipline so strong that even in a duel, when a blade was inches from his life, he didn't allow anger to rise. To him, anger was like a shadow. It looked powerful, but it had no substance unless he fed it with attention. The technique began with a simple idea. When anger appears, it is not you. It is a wave passing through you. Most people mistake that wave for their identity. They think, "I am angry." Musashi thought the opposite. Anger is rising, but I am watching. The moment you separate yourself from anger, it loses half its power. The moment you observe it instead of becoming it, the collapse of awareness stops. You return to clarity. Musashi wrote that true power is the ability to remain calm when you have every reason not to. Anyone can remain calm in a quiet room. Only a warrior remains calm in conflict. And although most of us will never be in a sword fight, we all face conflict. Arguments, disrespect, frustration, pressure, provocation. These are the modern duels. And most people lose them because their anger becomes their master. Musashi refused to let anything become his master. Not another warrior, not fear, and definitely not anger. He believed that a warrior who is provoked is already defeated, because the one who controls your emotions controls your actions. So he trained himself to become immune to provocation. People insulted him, ridiculed him, underestimated him. He responded with nothing. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of power. The first layer of Musashi's method was awareness. He taught his students that when you look at something with narrow focus, emotion grows. But when you widen your awareness, when you expand your mind to include the entire environment, the emotion weakens. When you focus on the person who offended you, anger grows. When you widen your attention to your breathing, your posture, the space around you, the future consequences of reacting angrily, anger loses its intensity. Musashi called this seeing wide. It was not a metaphor, it was a literal practice. He trained himself to always maintain panoramic awareness. In battle, this allowed him to see attacks from all angles. In life, it allowed him to see beyond the momentary spark of irritation. To Musashi, a mind narrowed by anger was a mind preparing to lose. A mind widened by awareness was a mind preparing to win. This widening dissolves anger because anger cannot survive in a mind that sees everything. Anger can only survive in a small mind, a cornered mind, a mind that clings to a single thought. When you expand your perception, anger has nowhere to hide. It dissolves like smoke in open space. The second layer of his technique was something he called cutting the mind. This does not mean suppressing emotion. Musashi never suppressed anything. He faced emotions directly, but he did not allow them to grow roots. The moment he felt anger beginning to form, he cut it off, not with force, but with recognition. He realized that the first moment of anger is nothing more than a thought, and if you cut it instantly, The emotion never has time to become powerful. Most people allow that first spark to grow. They replay the insult, they imagine counter-arguments, they create internal stories about being wronged. And with each repetition, the spark becomes a flame. Musashi never let the story form. He saw anger before it became anger. He saw the seed before it became a tree, and he cut it. This required enormous discipline, but it also created unbelievable freedom. And the third layer, the most advanced, the most difficult, and the most transformational, was ego death. Musashi realized that anger always comes from ego. You only become angry when something touches your identity, your pride, your image, your expectations. When you have no identity to defend, no persona to protect, anger has nothing to grab onto. Musashi lived with a mentality of emptiness. Not emptiness as in nothingness, but emptiness as in openness, a mind free from rigid identity. When you insult an empty cup, nothing responds. When you disturb still water, it returns to stillness instantly. Musashi trained himself to be like water, able to respond, but unable to be provoked. This is the forbidden technique. Not because it was illegal, but because it is almost impossible for ordinary minds to achieve. It requires training, awareness, and a level of detachment that most people never attempt. But once mastered, it makes anger powerless. Musashi's life offers countless examples of this technique in action. One of the most famous took place before his duel with Kojiro Sasaki, one of the deadliest swordsmen in Japan. Kojiro was known for his temper, for his pride, for his arrogance. Musashi exploited this. He intentionally arrived late to the duel, calmly carving a wooden sword from an oar while being rowed to the island. Anyone else would have been furious at the idea of offending a master swordsman. But Musashi remained composed, completely centered. Kojiro, in contrast, was burning with rage. The moment Musashi stepped onto the shore, Kojiro threw his scabbard away in anger. Musashi smiled and said, "If you have thrown away your scabbard, you have already lost." He wasn't speaking poetically, he was speaking literally. A man controlled by anger has thrown away his clarity. He can no longer think strategically. Musashi ended the duel in moments. That wasn't a victory of strength, it was a victory of the mind. It was proof of what happens when a calm mind faces an angry mind. The angry mind collapses, the calm mind prevails. People today think they need to manage anger. Musashi would laugh at this idea. To him, anger was not something to manage, it was something to eliminate at the root. He believed that a person who carries anger carries poison. Even if they hide it, it infects their decisions, it infects their relationships, it infects their spirit. He wrote that anger makes you predictable, and predictability is death for a warrior, but unpredictability, calmness in chaos, is the greatest advantage. Imagine a conflict. Two people are arguing. One raises their voice, the other raises theirs louder. Neither is listening. Both want to win. Both want to dominate. Both feel attacked. But the one who remains calm, who remains grounded, who sees the full situation instead of the immediate emotion, that person is in complete control. They control the tempo, the tone, the outcome. That is Musashi's way. This technique doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. Suppression is a form of fear. Musashi had no fear of emotion. He simply refused to let emotions control his actions. Anger is a messenger. It tells you where your ego is attached. It shows you where your expectations are rigid. Musashi used anger as information, not as identity. The forbidden technique is not a single act. It is a transformation of the mind itself. To practice it, you begin with awareness. When anger rises, expand your perception. Feel the space around you. Feel your body. Feel the environment. Anger thrives in narrow focus. It dies in wide focus. Next, cut the story. The moment you begin to repeat the narrative of, "They did this, I can't believe it, this is unfair," you are feeding the fire. Cut the story at the root. See the thought, let it pass and return to the present, then release the ego. Ask yourself, what part of me feels attacked? The answer will always be ego, not self, not truth. Ego. When ego dissolves, anger loses the foundation it stands on. Musashi believed that the mind should be like a mirror. It reflects what appears but retains nothing. Anger appears, and the mirror reflects it. But the mirror does not hold on to the reflection, it lets it pass. Musashi didn't invent this idea, he discovered it through battle. But it aligns with ancient Zen philosophy, which teaches that emotions are like clouds passing through the sky. The sky never holds the cloud. Musashi's mind was the sky. Anger was the cloud. It passed through without leaving a trace. His students said that Musashi was impossible to provoke, not because he lacked emotion, but because he lacked attachment. And attachment is the root of anger. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more rigid your expectations, the easier it is to hurt you. The more fragile your pride, the more others can control you. Musashi freed himself by refusing to cling to anything. Not reputation, not expectation, not image. That freedom made him untouchable. To understand Musashi's technique fully, you must understand his worldview. He believed life was a continuous series of battles, not physical battles, but battles of perception. The enemy was never outside. The enemy was always within. Fear, hesitation, pride, anger. By mastering these internal enemies, external challenges became easy. Musashi often lived in poverty, wandering from province to province with nothing but his sword. He slept outdoors, ate little, trained constantly. People misunderstand this as suffering, but to Musashi, simplicity was liberation. When you own little, little can be taken from you. When you expect nothing, nothing can disappoint you. When your identity is not tied to status or possessions, no insult can destabilize you. This is why he was immune to anger. He lived in a way that left nothing for anger to attach to. He understood that most people become angry when their image is threatened. Someone disrespects them, and they react. Someone challenges their authority, and they react. Someone contradicts them, and they react. This is because their identity is fragile. They need validation. Musashi needed nothing. He wrote that a warrior should stand in the world without leaning on anything. Not on praise, not on recognition, not on reputation. When you lean on nothing, nothing can push you over. This is the core of the forbidden technique. Anger relies on ego. Ego relies on attachment. Remove the attachments, and anger collapses. Musashi also trained himself to see anger as energy. Energy can be redirected. He did not let anger turn into destructive force. He transformed it into clarity, into alertness, into calm readiness. Anger is heat. Without discipline, heat burns. With discipline, heat becomes power. During battles, Musashi sometimes appeared emotionless, but those who fought him said that behind his calm was something terrifying, complete presence. He was not distracted by emotion. He was not distracted by thought. He was fully awake, fully aware, fully alive. This presence made him unbeatable, not because he knew every technique, but because nothing clouded his mind. Musashi taught that a clouded mind is slow. A clear mind is unstoppable. Anger clouds the mind. Calmness clears it. If you want to practice Musashi's technique, you must begin with presence. When anger appears, feel it, notice it, observe it without identifying with it. Do not say, "I am angry." Say, "Anger is rising." This subtle shift creates a divide between you and the emotion, and in that divide is your freedom. Most people are enslaved by emotions because they fuse with them instantly. Musashi never fused with any emotion. He watched emotions from a higher vantage point, like a mountain watching weather pass over it. The weather cannot move the mountain. The mountain does not fight the weather. The mountain simply remains. This stability is the essence of the samurai mind. It is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of emotion. Musashi trained this through hardship. He intentionally placed himself in uncomfortable situations to test his mind. He welcomed insult as training. He accepted discomfort as growth. He believed that a mind sheltered from difficulty becomes weak, easily provoked, easily angered. But a mind tested by adversity becomes strong. And a strong mind cannot be shaken by small things. When someone insulted him, he did not react with anger. He saw it as information. This person seeks to control my mind. I refuse. When someone challenged him, he did not feel threatened. He saw it as another opportunity to sharpen his perception. When life denied him comfort, he did not complain. He saw it as a chance to become more independent. Musashi's strength did not come from avoiding adversity. It came from using adversity as a forge. Anger cannot survive in a mind that has embraced hardship. Anger survives only in minds that expect comfort, validation, and ease. This is why Musashi destroyed anger forever. He built his identity on nothing external. He cut emotions at the root. He widened awareness until anger dissolved, and he lived with such presence that nothing could destabilize him. The forbidden technique is not ancient history. It is something you can apply today, in any moment. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is to react. But Musashi would tell you to wait, to observe the feeling rise within you, to widen your awareness, to see the situation fully, not through the narrow lens of ego. Ask yourself, is this worth giving away my clarity? Is this worth shrinking my awareness? Is this worth losing control of my mind? Anger wants you to react instantly. It thrives on speed. Musashi slowed everything down. He created a gap between event and response. In that gap, he chose his action consciously. This gap is where mastery lives. If you can expand that gap just for a moment, anger has no power. It becomes a passing impulse, not a command. Musashi also understood that anger drains energy. In battle, wasted energy meant slower reactions. In life, wasted energy means slower progress. Anger is exhausting. Calmness is efficient. Musashi chose efficiency. He believed that a warrior should conserve mental energy for important decisions, not waste it on emotional reactions. This is why people with calm minds often seem stronger. They are not drained by trivial things. Another key element of Musashi's approach is acceptance. Not passive acceptance, but realistic acceptance. He accepted that people would provoke him. He accepted that life would challenge him. He accepted that discomfort was natural. Most anger comes from resisting reality. Musashi embraced reality. When you accept reality, anger has no foothold. You stop arguing with the world. You adapt instead of resist. You respond instead of react. Musashi also practiced solitude. Not loneliness, but solitude. He believed that spending time alone strengthened the mind. Without constant external stimulation, the mind becomes still. In stillness, emotions become clear. You learn to notice them before they grow. This is essential for destroying anger. You must learn to feel anger in its early stages, not when it explodes, but when it whispers. Musashi sharpened his awareness so deeply that he could sense the first ripple of anger and cut it before it became a wave. This level of sensitivity comes from quiet, from reflection, from honest observation of the self. Musashi wrote in the Book of Five Rings that the true warrior sees the world as it is, not as his emotions demand it to be. This means seeing the motives behind anger, insecurity, fear, ego. When you see the truth behind anger, you no longer fall for its illusions. He also believed that every emotion has a purpose. Anger's purpose is to show you where you are vulnerable. If someone's words can make you angry, they hold power over you. Musashi believed this was unacceptable. No one should have the ability to disturb your mind except you. So he trained to make his mind sovereign, independent, untouchable. The forbidden technique is ultimately about freedom. Not freedom from conflict, but freedom from internal slavery. When you master your mind, no insult, no event, no person can control you. You become the master of your reactions, the master of your perception, the master of your life. This is what Musashi achieved. This is why he never lost a duel. He fought men who were stronger, faster, more trained. But he fought with a mind they could not touch. While they swung their swords fueled by anger, he remained still, centered, composed. And that made him invincible. You do not need a battlefield to apply this. Your battlefield is your life, your relationships, your ambitions, your stress, your struggles. Anger is the enemy that sabotages all of these. Musashi's technique destroys that enemy permanently. Widen your awareness. Cut the first thought. Let go of ego. Embrace presence. Accept reality. Train your mind through adversity. Return again and again to the calm center within you. Do this, and anger becomes something you understand, something you observe, something you dissolve, not something that controls you. And once anger loses its power over you, something extraordinary happens. You become freer. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become someone who cannot be provoked. You become someone who moves through the world with unshakable calm. You become someone who sees clearly, acts intelligently, and lives with purpose. This is the forbidden samurai technique. This is the way of Musashi. This is the path to destroying anger forever.